ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
It's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket, talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And it's a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. I am he. And we are back for another week of talk. And thanks everybody for tuning in. We are streaming live and direct on Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Amazon Fire TV, and Roku TV, as well as Facebook. Excuse me. And since I did mention YouTube, please help us out. We really, really need your help on YouTube. If you haven't already subscribed to our channel on YouTube, please do so. We're trying to grow that platform as much as we've grown some of the other ones. So we really, really need your help on YouTube. Search Empower TV. You should be able to see our logo and know that it's us. But please share that channel, like it, but most importantly, subscribe to it. We are pushing towards 10,000 followers, subscribers rather. We're very far off from that goal, but we got to have goals, right? And we want to be able to grow it. The more subscribers that we have every time we do this show or any other content that we add, it definitely helps with the algorithm. And we definitely want to be able to reach more and more people. And honestly, too, selfishly, we want to be able to have it so that when we're trying to book a certain caliber of guests and they see how many subs that we actually have, it's a lot easier to be able to close that deal. When you only have a few subscribers, people don't think that your reach may be as big as it is, even though we have more than just our YouTube channel. We do all the other platforms as well. So those numbers can be skewed a little bit, but a lot of times if people just, go to your channel and they look at the subscriber list, they think that's all that you have, when in reality, you spread your subscribers thinly across so many different platforms. We do that because we want to make sure that people can reach us in as many different ways as possible, but that is a challenge to that. So even though you may watch on LinkedIn, you may watch on Instagram, which Tani is doing. Hey, Tani, on Instagram. We do appreciate that, but you can be even more of a help by subscribing onto our YouTube channel and also sharing that YouTube channel, and just let your friends know, hey, we got some crazy folks out there. They do a weekly podcast called Head to Head. They talk about all kinds of stuff. Yes, a lot of it is political because let's be honest, y'all. Whether you engage in politics or not, everything, or basically once you get a certain age, almost everything that you do has some kind of political influence in it whatsoever. You name it, from going to get a job, from drinking water, from going to vote, from buying a gallon of milk, uh, from filling up your car with gas. All of those things have something or another to do with politics. So whether you engage with politics or not, or whether you think you're engaging or not, because maybe you don't follow politics closely, you are engaged every single day, whether you realize it or not. That's kind of the way that I look at it. And what we try to do is put it in practical terms. Yeah, we may have our leanings and stuff like that, but it's all about honest debate and conversation. And sometimes we don't always agree on everything. We may have a little bit of a slight one way or another and things like that, and that's okay. Only thing that we don't really do, guys, is we don't put up a lot. We don't put up any, not a lot. We don't put up any conspiracy theories, uh, blatant lies, and things like that, and peddle those kind of things. We're gonna be honest with you, and we're gonna do a little bit of that on this show too. I'd be remiss if I didn't remind everybody right now that this past Tuesday marked 28 days until Election Day. That's right. November the 5th is Election Day. However, if there is early voting where you are, please, please, please take advantage of early voting. Um, do not listen to folks such as Donald Trump telling you not to go out and vote or anything like that. I'm not even telling you who to vote for. I'm just saying we need to start showing our politicians that we will show up to vote. And yes, we do have a higher amount of participation in an election year, but we need to carry that over into years where we're not voting for a president, where maybe we are just voting for a state senator or a representative in the state house, or even a school superintendent, maybe a local district judge, a local sheriff, all of those types of things. Politics is local. A lot of times you go to MSNBC, CNN, Fox News, ABC, CBS, NBC, and all you really see are the big races and things like that. But guys, there are always things that affect us more closer to home that have nothing to do with the big races. I would venture to say to you, all of the races are big races, especially at this point in our lives where politics has gotten so toxic. And guys, listen, they want it to be toxic to you because if it's toxic enough, you'll just throw your hands up and say, to hell with it. I don't trust anybody. I don't know what to think. I don't know what to believe. And they want you to be disinterested. Um, Most politicians will say out of their mouths, we want high voter turnout. I don't think that's true. I think they're perfectly fine with you using outside things such as family, work, all these other things that distract you to keep you away from looking at what they're doing. Your voice is too important to do that. If it wasn't, there would not be so many efforts to gerrymander. We'll talk about that in a second. Um, there wouldn't be so many people out there trying to purge voter rolls, suppress voting, and things like that. Now you'll hear people talk about purging voter rolls because they'll say, "Well, we want to make sure that the rolls are accurate and that people that used to live in a certain place aren't still going back to vote there, even though they live somewhere else." And that's how you have voter fraud. Let's be honest. Over the last 20 years at least, there has been less than 1% voter fraud in this country. There's not been any uh, determinative fraud. And all that means is that there's never been fraud in any election that rises to a level where it would change the outcome. Call it outcome determinative. There has not been any. Now, you'll hear, well, Brian, any fraud is bad. Of course it is. All fraud is bad. But there's not been any outcome determinative fraud. People need to be honest with you. Does voter fraud exist? Yes. Has there been any to the level that it would have changed the outcome of an election? No. Do we need to have things in place to prevent voter fraud? Yes. But you know what's more prevalent? Things that are affected: gun violence, women's right to health care, voter rights. All those things are more prevalent. All those things are determinative uh, than voter fraud. Elections are secure. You get Lori, and Lori's here with me. You get folks actually complaining that, excuse me, that's something in my mouth. You get people complaining that uh, uh, if people don't vote on election day, somehow that's not as valuable as somebody voting early, mail-in votes and stuff like that, because they say, well, people should have to walk over to their precinct. They should have to stand in line and vote with everybody else. Now, let's be honest. The people that say that, Lori, are not being intellectually honest because what they understand is that a lot of people work on a Tuesday. They go in early. Polls a lot of times open up at 7 in the morning. People on their work at 7 in the morning. People get off at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. They've been at work all day. Polls close at 7 o'clock. So when in the hell are you supposed to go vote on voting day if you have to work on that Tuesday?
Your
There's
your 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 job, you are given, this is the HR hat of me, you are given time and every employer gives you time to vote.
is
Whether
it
you go
paid time?
early or you in middle of the day for this one, but you're given 4 hours to vote.
Is paid time off?
To vote. Yes. You have to you're given time. You're given time to vote.
I'm saying, is it paid time off?
It's depending on how the company takes the time and how they recognize it, but there are 4 hours that you're given.
I mean, it's excused time, but I'm just making sure it's
Excused.
paid time off.
But it is given as an employer, you are given time to vote on election day.
Okay. Well, what if you end up with childcare issues that day, or um, you end up sick that day and you can't go vote? So there are a lot, and so I understand what you're saying. There are a lot of reasons, that there's a lot of reasons that people don't vote on voting day, and early voting is preferable. And if it wasn't popular, it wouldn't be looked to be expanded and things like that because quite honestly, and go ahead and bring in the French. Well, let me see. Give me a thumb up if you're ready. Come on, he's up. Bring him on in then. So
And while you're sitting here and talking here in North Carolina, you need to be registered to vote by tomorrow, October 11th,
that is
to make
correct.
sure that you're registered to vote in order to vote by
And,
October 11th.
and another thing too, Lori, because North Carolina did pass a voter ID law, you do need to have an ID with you when you go vote, and
Yes,
you check the county website that you're in
to
to
verify
make sure that you look for a list of acceptable forms of ID.
forms of ID.
Well, you can actually get a free ID from the DMV.
You can. You
Yes,
absolutely but you may already have something that will pass. Um certain school IDs are being used. So if you're a student, your school ID. Now, I would say if you got a school ID, you should have a uh ID issued by the DMV as well too. But just be on the lookout for that you do have to show up with an ID to vote. But again, because so many things can happen on a random Tuesday, lines get long, childcare issues, you could get sick. If you have the ability to go vote early, do that. And a lot of times when you go vote early, it can be a little bit more convenient because I know you, at least for us, Lord, I don't have to go to my voting precinct. I can go to wherever there's early voting. And for me, that is literally 800 feet away from my house.
yes, and actually early voting for our county starts on October 17th.
We'll be there. I mean, literally, I can walk over, vote, walk home, and I won't even be out of breath. So
Yeah, the whole thing, and there's of course a big conservative argument about the expansion of voting and stuff, which is crazy, except for this country was based in racist practices. But I'll leave that to the end. I'll leave that to the end. But uh, the fact, like Charlotte is the 15th largest city in the U.S. Imagine if everybody decided to vote on the same day. The
right,
traffic, just the logistics of it don't make any sense. And what you want is, I think, what that conservative crowd should really be focused on is an educated populace and not a restricted populace. If that's what your concern is, because there's a lot of people who don't believe that everyone should have a vote,
that's right.
and so the idea of taking that vote away, it's not a new idea for them. It's something that's been championed, well, I mean, basically since the start of this country. that everybody wasn't educated enough to vote. And I'll be honest with you, if you talk to enough people on the streets, you might come to that conclusion yourself. But that's not what the rules
Mhm.
are. And the rules say that I have a right to vote, and so why not give me an opportunity, a
Oh,
real
did we lose Jerry?
opportunity?
Oh, he's back.
Oh, sorry. And why not give me a real opportunity to exercise my constitutional rights?
No, you know what? You're absolutely right. And I I said this in a post of mine the other day because, man, it's easy to just parrot ignorance. Um, it's easy to let other people tell you things and you not have enough sense to vet it. It reminds me of when COVID came out. All of a sudden, everybody became smarter than the damn scientists. They did their own research. Now, these are the same people that couldn't tell you how to do, can't even help their kids do research in school projects. Now, all of a sudden, know how to do enough research to be a, a somebody that could tell you about pathogens and tell you about um, viruses, that can tell you about antibodies and can tell you about genomes and can tell you about all these different things that go into fighting off infectious diseases. They can now tell you about herd immunity and all these different things. Now they can become experts, barely graduate. Um, but but now they're smart enough to do their own research. So what set me off, and you know what really breaks my heart a lot of times is you'll have friends out there that will repost stupid shit. And sometimes I can just look the other way because I'm like, you know what? I know everybody's got an opinion, and God bless them and stuff like that. But it's when they just really say stupid shit. It was like when people kept putting those stickers on the gas tanks when the gas was going up and put the thing with Biden saying, I did that. And I always wondered why when the gas prices went down, they didn't keep putting them stickers on there because it can't only work one way. If he's responsible for them going up, he got to be responsible for them going down, you know? So it was always a mystery. So the latest mystery, not the biggest, but the latest mystery, y'all, came to me when my friend sat there and posted about Kamala Harris making all these campaign promises to do this and to do this and to do that. And then they say, well, she's had 4 years to do it. Why hadn't she done it? And I'm like, well, wait. I mean, asking the question is almost revealing to the lack of sense people have, the lack of education people have, because anybody that's taken sixth grade social studies will tell you that the role of a vice president is not to set the domestic agenda or the foreign policy. They're to carry forward the policy of the president. So Kamala Harris has not had 4 years to do whatever the hell she wants to do. Um, she hasn't been able to do that because that's not her role. And I used the perfect example, or at least I felt like it was a perfect example of if you've ever worked in America and you were the assistant manager, you still had to follow the direction of the general manager. Now, the general manager may give you certain tasks that they want you to head up, but they still kind of give you some guidelines and boundaries for you to do those said tasks in. You're not necessarily going to go rogue and say, well, I know they wanted me to do it this way, but I'm going to do it the way that I want to because I got my own set of policies and agendas. It doesn't work that way. Now, if that general manager gets a promotion or they end up leaving that job and you get elevated and now you're the general manager, now you have the ability to either A, continue on and do some of the things that the previous person did, or you may have some flexibility depending on the type of company and implement some things that maybe you said, hey, when I get to sit in that chair, I would like to focus on this. There are tons of people that have been in that situation, yet still can't draw the comparison as to why the vice president of the United States does not set foreign policy and domestic policy, and why the things that she's wanting to do for her campaign have not already been done. If she really wanted to do it, why hadn't she done it? Go ahead, Jay.
Well, I think you have to look at a couple things. Number one, the U.S. is ranked 13th in the world in education, um, which considerably is still the top of the world in education, but it's 13th in the world in education.
That's sad.
And yeah, I mean, you make a great example and stuff. In my military career, I served all the way up to I eventually, when I left, I led the section that I was in of 70. The section was manned for 72 positions, and I got to lead that section. And obviously, on the way up, I was able to take on different roles of leadership within the section. But at no point,
Hello, Betty Morris. Hello, Sarah Parker. Sorry.
hi. But at no point until I got to be in charge, was I actually in charge. Again, like you said, there were certain projects, there were things that I led, there were people that I took care of, all the demonstrated my ability to lead in a higher capacity, but I wasn't in charge of the section. And there were lots of things that the people who led the section, I was like, man, I don't agree with that personally. That's not the way I'd have done it. When I get in charge, I'll do it my different way. And I mean, even in American politics, think about vice presidents who've gone on to be presidents and stuff. If they didn't have a different vision, then you were basically just rubber stamping what administration they were part of. But
Correct.
all those guys were allowed to say, hey, I might have worked for Reagan, but I'm not Reagan, and I have new ideas, things that I want to do, and no one's ever said, oh, well, you were vice president, you had your turn.
Right.
So I a lot of this is just meaningless talk coming from people who are not serious when they ask these questions or they make these assertions and stuff. Like I said, just a lot of false. We talked about last week, like the hurricane and FEMA. A lot of just bad faith politics going on right now, where people are just spreading obvious lies. Well, which should be obvious lies, but are not, because unfortunately there's a lot of cult-like tendencies to the Republican Party right now. Donald Trump, the cult leader.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely get into that a little bit more too, because it's just surprising how, Lucy with the football always comes to my mind when I think about Trump followers and people that listen to Trump. But yeah, is it a double standard? I mean, where was when Joe Biden ran for president? Did people say, "Well, you have 4 years with Obama to get these things done"? When George H.W. Bush ran for president, did they say, "Well, you were with Reagan, why didn't you do it then"? Um, were folks scrutinized that way? Uh,
Well,
Stuff like that. I don't remember.
here's the thing that's crazy is that you're telling about the vice president and what the vice president didn't do in their time, and then you have a former president
President,
who was promising, who had
yes,
4 years as president, who is promising to do things. And no one is saying, well, you had 4 years to do these things. Why didn't you do them then? Especially when your first two were controlled, when you had control of all three branches.
correct. And the funny thing too, Jermaine and Lori, is I hear people have with this revisionist history talking about, well, things were better under Donald Trump. And what they're talking about is the first 3 years. Now they keep wanting to carve out March 2020 through
Yeah,
January 6th of 2021.
Yeah.
And I'm keep going, something really happened during that time. So here's the other thing that again, people not serious or just simply not educated. And I'll go into why I think that's kind of the plan. When people talk about, I felt like the economy was better under Donald Trump. I felt like things were cheaper. I'll use one example, and then I can get into some other ones. Gas was a lot cheaper under Donald Trump. It was. It really was, especially the last 10 months of his presidency. Now, the problem is there's a thing called intellectual curiosity. Brian, why would gas be lower the last 10 months of Donald Trump's presidency? Hmm. There was a damn pandemic, y'all. People weren't driving.
I think, and we've talked about this several times. I mean, I'm not really sure how many more times we could actually bring it up. It's not fresh, it's not new. And anybody that's really genuinely interested in those conversations would have had them already, and they understand that. American president.
Train, there's a lot of people that really, really believe
I
that
don't.
their gas was lower and their food was lower, and they don't know why. They really don't.
Well, again, we're 13th in the world in education, and there's a lot of people carrying the weight of that 13th. Without them, we would be much lower. They're raising the curve for us, and I'm just being serious.
That's
I
true.
really.
No, it's true.
And the problem, I think the dangerous problem is not in the fanatics of Trump, and who's Trump appealed to? High school white males with high school diplomas. That is his core, right?
Yeah.
And anybody with any kind of education, it's hard for them to side with Trump. One, because all you gotta do is listen. He's one of those kind of guys. So they're running this ad about Kamala Harris, about her supporting transgender time of surgery in jail and stuff. You can tell looking at it that the clip has been cut up, right?
Okay.
It's her saying. It's never her actually coming out and saying that. It's just some cut up stuff around trying to piece
it together.
Yeah, piece it together. Now, when you look at Donald Trump, you go play the whole thing. Listen to 3 minutes of him talking in context,
right?
And that's all you need. And it really is. And it's
you mean what? You mean him 3 minutes of him doing the weave?
Of the weave. 3 minutes of the weave.
He'll give you a weave every time he talks, and that you ask him one question, and he will bring up 17 things that have no connection at all, and swear up and down he's doing the weave.
Well, and like I say, if the problem comes in when you start seeing people who are educated and stuff that are reposting some of the stuff. I heard this interview today. They played a clip on MSNBC. This guy talking about his father-in-law who's in Western North Carolina who's refusing to accept any FEMA help because he believes FEMA is going to take his house if he accepts help. And he's 70-something years old. He's complaining to his family that he doesn't have the resources that he needs. And he won't accept the resources that the federal government's trying to give to him, all because of the second big lie. And there's so many lies, I don't know where to rank this one. But these kind of lies are dangerous. And one of the things is that it's purposeful. Donald Trump isn't just lying to be lying; he's lying to confuse the vote. It's one of those kind of things. If I got one key and I throw 1,000 keys up, good luck finding the real key.
Yeah. But he did that with COVID too. He would rather let some of his own constituents die by peddling things that would not work so that he could run on anti-science. And
I'm not sure how that works though, because like he keeps sitting down with Bob Woodward, and I don't know why. Because Bob Woodward was the one that exposed back then that he knew that COVID was a problem.
Yes.
When he was publicly on television saying that it wasn't. And now Woodward's new book says that he was sending test material to Putin,
right?
His Russian girlfriend. And I get it. Like a lot of people order, and he has a mail order bride now. So I understand why he might be looking for another foreign one. He just likes to get F by foreigners. And so I don't know. Maybe Donald Trump is one of the original passport bros. I don't know. But he sits there and he says one thing. I've talked about it before. Like this is like wrestling, where there's this persona and stuff, and this who you gonna talk to kind of stuff going on, and then in the back it's like cheerio, good fellow, and it's a totally different thing from what's on the camera and stuff. And it wouldn't surprise me if Trump was well spoken and intellectual behind cameras. Okay, it would. I'm lying. It would really surprise me. That dude is who he is.
I know what you mean. Like he's playing a part of somebody, but it's like Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana, and he does his whole foghorn leg, and he don't even talk like that.
Yeah.
He's a Rhodes Scholar. He went to some of these big institutions, but then when he's sitting there doing his Senate hearings and stuff, he won't talk people like he's just some old dirty Southerner that don't know nothing. He just been crop dusting all the damn life. Ain't been nowhere near no crop dusting. But will try to sound like that foolishly, but in the background, when you actually hear him speak, he don't talk like that at all.
Yeah, it's again, but it's purposeful. Again, as close as we get to election and stuff, for Donald Trump, the truth is not a beauty is the beholder thing. Even it's disposable and confusion. He doesn't want the truth. He wants to sow confusion and stuff. Why would you double down about the cats and dogs thing? Because it doesn't matter if it's true or not. I am trying to I'm trying to invoke a reaction, and especially an emotional response. Like how many times people, if you're old enough to still use Facebook, I guarantee you that you saw one of those AI manipulated photos of a little girl holding a dog.
Yes.
And you saw people sharing that photo with thank our firefighters, our first responders. This is why we do what we do, and it was in real photo. And even when it was exposed, it was a real photo. People was like, well, it still captures the emotion of what we're talking about. No, you thought it was real.
Right. And instead of saying that I got duped, I would rather lean in and say, yeah, but it could have happened, but things like that happen all the time.
Or I'm sure something like that occurred. They just didn't get a photo of it. And so this is, while not a actual depiction, is an accurate depiction.
How that's funny that you can never use that with a black man getting his ass whooped and somebody say it was a fake picture. All white people go, I knew it was fake. I knew that never happened. No, it happened. It just didn't happen that time. But it's just a recreation of what happens. Nah, that don't happen like that.
Yeah, you could never get away with that. You could never get away with something like that in defense of black people.
Yeah, because if once one fake is done, then it don't matter how many real ones would come after that. They say, there was that fake one.
So we've known this in our community, and I'll take one example. Why was it Jesse? I don't want to because the comedian was Dave Chappelle was Smollett. He was messing with his last name, but Jesse Smollett thing. Why was it important to the black people? Because anytime we can be disproven in a claim about racism, white people automatically don't believe anything that we have to say.
Mm-hmm. Like, and they will hang it on that one hook.
On that one hook, they'll hang it there and be like, "Oh, that's no one of them Justice Smollett type things going on," and you'd be like, "Okay, well, what about Emmett Till?" And they'd be like, "Oh, that woman. You leave that woman alone. She's an old woman now." What? She lied.
It don't matter how old she is. She lied.
And so the double standard of this country has been well established when it comes to who's right, who's wrong, what's enough proof for somebody and stuff. And it just seems to be on this side, no matter what the context is. That's why I say it's a cult. Don't believe your eyes and ears. Believe what I tell you.
It really is. Laura, you want to jump in?
Sorry, my throat.
The hell happened to your throat?
I just started coughing. It
I
just
mean, I'm,
was like,
I mean, I'm the one over here with pink eye.
and you still look fabulous.
No, my eyes look crazy. I really do have pink eye, but
But no, just in agreeing with all of your points, both Jermaine and yours, it's just as a part of cult personality and just the foolishness. And I guess when you were talking about don't believe or they're trying to hang on that one thing, I just keep thinking about that meme with the little girl in the elevator. That just makes me laugh. Sorry.
so
Solely off the topic.
sorry, I'm running a little late. So I get on the elevator. Oh Lord, yeah.
Yeah.
So my
Well,
whole
so
behind before my eyes.
well, so because like I mean, really, you take one bad AI, like there's an AI photo of Trump helping people, and that was a first clue that it was imaginary. Uh,
It's not him throwing paper towels at somebody.
no, it's one of him.
Helping.
He's
But they
wading in the water with like a vest on.
they do that with his trading
You
cards.
don't get in no water.
Where he looks like he's a muscle man, a spaceman, a cowboy. We sitting there looking at him like, look, if you had him with 100 Big Macs in front of him on a trading card, okay.
Well,
If
so
fine.
I never touched his trading card, just because it just do it to you. Only people dumb enough to do it to themselves are doing it to themselves, kind of thing.
Look.
And none of those people will watch this show.
Listen, this is what I don't understand though, Jermaine, with that. People will swear up and down they don't make as much money as they used to. They send a purported billionaire money that they can't afford really to get away from. They buy his trading cards for $99. He sells Bibles that have the damn Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and the Declaration of Independence in it for $60. He sells $400 pairs of sneakers. He sells pieces of his suit that he wore when he got shot. He sells pieces of his suit that he wore when he got arrested. He's now peddling $100,000 fake fake Swedish watches that were confirmed to be being built in China. The man has tried to sell you steak. He's tried to sell you water. He's tried to sell you ties. He's tried to sell you suits. He's tried to sell you a university.
Teddy bears.
He's tried to sell you a teddy bear. He's tried to sell you an airline. He's tried to sell you a mortgage company. He's tried to sell you a travel
And a
agent.
college degree.
Yeah, that's what I said in
University.
Yeah,
Yep.
all of those things.
He sold you. These are Trump guns. They're 45s. They're sold out. And so to your point, so when people, it's so interesting because like when people talk about the economy now, the numbers show that this economy is more robust than that economy, and that things are the inflation, even though I didn't agree with the Fed and how they handled the rise of the inflation at the start. They're starting to get under control. The jobs list came out. Anytime there's any kind of factual numbers that come out, like the jobs report for last month came out, and it blew out the expectations and stuff. And of course, they immediately said that it was fake. We say that the economy is better and we can prove it numerically, and they say, well, that's no way. I feel like I feel like when gas used to be $1.10, I remember I moved back to Charlotte in 2001 after leaving active duty, and the apartment that I got a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment here, and it was like $585. And I thought to myself, man, I don't know how I'm gonna make that rent.
Right.
Right. You know what I mean? And so you can always look back and feel like things are cheaper, and you're not wrong. They were cheaper, but the income generally increases. And if it doesn't increase, I will say a lot of times it has something to do with you and your motivation and why you not prepared yourself for the economy and stuff. That's not the federal government's job. Just like it's not, as a lot of people say, their job to raise your kids and stuff like that. There's some things about yourself, raising yourself, that you need to do, whether it's going back and getting a degree, a certification. But if you are working in a customer service driven job like hospitality or something like that, and you're not in the management in those positions and stuff, you're just like, working in a drive through, or you're working as a waiter or waitress, you're working as a server and stuff like that, and you go, man, it feels like I don't have any money. You're right, you don't. And Trump's not gonna give you none, so I don't know why you would bother with him. The idea that a billionaire could relate to your problems and stuff, it's actually kind of comical and stuff. Like, who would believe that?
Right. And that's the part I don't get is he speaks to us. Donald Trump would not piss on you if you were on fire.
Well, it's not just a Donald Trump thing; it's an American thing. One of the things about we see it in entertainment all the time where people start out and they're very relatable because they're starting on their journey and stuff, and then when they kind of make it big, they've distanced themselves from everyday folk and stuff. You see it a lot in mediums like comedy and stuff, because when I was broke, my comedy relates to things that you and I talk about. But when I start becoming a millionaire, what is my comedy then, and how do you relate? Dave Chappelle's one of the few comedians who's actually been able to say, "Oh, I'm rich," and, and still make it funny. Like, okay, I can still relate to Dave Chappelle, though he tells me that, and Dave does all the times like, "Oh yeah, they're not talking about you whites. They're talking about me. I've got money." And it's one of those kind of things where you go, "Oh yeah, that he's right," because yeah, he's right.
Well, Jermaine, I think though that a lot of it is our society's narrow-mindedness when it comes to relating to people that we see in media and on TV. When I sit there and I watch a lot of news. So if you ever walk in my house, and the TV's normally on MSNBC. So there may be Rachel Maddow, Lawrence O'Donnell, Alex Wagner, Chris Hayes, Joy Reid, those cast of folks, Nicole Wallace. So in my mind, because I see them on TV, and think about it, even before then, even when it was just the three big networks, ABC, CBS, NBC, and your parents grew up watching the news anchors around the TV and everything, or your local newscasters, your anchors that have been around. If you're in Charlotte area, Channel 9, Erica Bryant, my baby mama, she's been on that network for so long. Everybody know Erica. Or everybody knows Erica, but they don't know Erica. But
Well,
she's
you invite these people into your home every day.
in their homes every day through the news. You trust what she's saying because she's become such a staple. It's like Oprah. So many people trust Oprah because of her show, not because of the OWN network. It was because the Oprah Winfrey show was in their homes every single day. So they know Oprah, they trust Oprah. If Oprah tell you that this is gonna help your leg feel better, your back feel better, your cross-eyedness gonna go away if you rub this ointment on it, you would do it because Oprah said so. When Oprah recommends a book, how many Oprah is the reason that Dr. Phil is Dr. Phil. Oprah is the reason that Ayanla is Ayanla. She has put so many people on just because she gave him a stamp of approval. Gayle King is working for damn CBS because of Oprah. I mean, all these people have had their come ups because Oprah was a name that people trusted. So I think with Donald Trump, I'm not weaving, but I think with Donald Trump is that because he became this guy, whether he was successful or not, he always promoted being rich and successful and planes and women and all of this stuff that people grew up learning about the myth and never really understanding when the curtains were pulled back, what was really behind those curtains.
Well, we
And
talked about it again, when we talked with the wrestling analogy there, how long
yes,
did we go on talking about wrestling was real? And don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, when I was little, I thought it was real too.
And you always thought Hogan walked around with his shirt half ripped. Come on, let me tell you something, brother. You know, or Randy Man Macho Savage always talking about, oh yeah. He probably got tired of it. Probably when he walked in going through the airport, people did that. He'd probably be like, please no, please stop. You know, I can only imagine these guys outside of the ring when people walk up to him and say, do it for me one more time. Kind of like when that I was thinking about that Dave Chappelle thing when he was acting like he was Gary Coleman as a security guard, and people kept up to him talking about, just do it one time, do it. What's talking about, Willis? I really don't want to.
The thing is that, and it happens not just with Donald Trump, but it's I don't know, it's a byproduct of American society where we're fed these images and things, and we believe them to be true. Point.
Yes,
we have a lot of young people who believe that they don't have to work a job in order to become rich. Because somebody took a picture beside somebody else's Ferrari, or I saw this thing where they rent out what looks like the inside of a private jet, and people do YouTubes and pretend they're flying from place to place, and they fall for all these lies and falsehoods and think, oh, I saw it on TV, and this guy said all I had to do was do this and this, and working for the man, that was crazy, and da da da. And I don't know how many young people have been set back in their lives because they believe that BS and stuff. So
Or
we
becoming
really,
a social influencer. That just kills me. Like, I don't have to work. I
okay.
can
So
just
don't get me wrong. So one of the things that we were told growing up and stuff is that playing video games will get you nowhere, and there's plenty of people, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Really,
absolutely. Rot your brain. Your
Rot
brain
your
will be
brain.
rotted. Why would you do
People
that?
are getting paid for people to watch them play video games.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And
hilarious.
so don't, it's not that everything that you hear is absolute truth or whatever. But not everybody's getting paid to play video games. There's plenty of people who have their own. Hey, spit on that thing. You got to hop to it.
Hot to it.
That just took somebody being in the right place at the right time. Girl working in a damn warehouse all her life, basically says some honest, explicit shit, and becomes famous to even the point where creepy ass Bill Maher is now talking to her, and it looks so uncomfortable. I couldn't even watch the rest of his podcast with her because it was like, boy, you
Well,
sound
because outside of that one sentence, what substance is there?
none.
And so, I mean, that while it's fun, and I will gladly say it as many more times as I can stand it, but we tend to believe a lot of the fictitious stuff that's put in front of us is kind of the weave of all this, and that and so Trump being invited into people's houses night after night, just like those other personalities and stuff, he built himself a lot of trust with those people, and a lot of people want to. And the biggest thing about a line of people is giving them a lot that they want to believe.
Yep.
When you if you're a smooth young man, you go, baby, I love you and I want to be with you. You're not giving a lie that she doesn't want to believe. That's the reason you're telling it to her, is because it's something that she dearly wants and stuff. So people want to be loved, people want to be appreciated and stuff. And so you can position yourself like that, and people will help you with that lie. And Trump is the same way, where he's telling people things that they want to hear, and they are helping him a long way with the lie.
And to your point, one of those things that people want to hear is that the reason that I don't have, the reason that I can't be, the reason that things happen to me is because there is somebody or somebody's out there that are preventing me from doing that. And Donald Trump is not only telling me who those people are, but he has a plan to get rid of them so that my sucky ass life will turn around and become better. For the longest, it was black and brown people. The othering of society of, hey, ever since we let them out of them chains, now they don't know how to act.
Well, the thing was is that even before we were releasing chains, there's always been kind of a classism system in place in American stuff, unsaid class. And one thing has always been there has to be somebody on the bottom to blame. And they even blame slaves because if they didn't have slaves, they could hire you. So
Right.
slaves were blamed for their own torment. When they got released, oh well, now they're out and stuff, and now it's and so I mean, Donald Trump is really only about 40 years or 50 years away from saying that it was Irish that's taking jobs and stuff. I mean, really, I mean, and so at some point, a lot of immigrants and stuff have been cast in this light. These immigrants are coming over. It just depended on the time frame of when it was happening about which group was getting the business.
Yeah.
Is it the Italians?
Hmm.
Because the stigma with Italians was that they were gangsters. Irish
Right.
were potato farmers. We'd already used up all the stigmas for African Americans and Native Americans when the Chinese came over. They were communists. I mean, it's all kind. I mean, just over and over again. This country casting other people is a reason that you don't have or you can't get. Other than, like I said, if the economy's not working out for you, there are some options for you. And there are no easy options. I know you're saying I'm tired, I don't have time and stuff. Well, you can either be broke or tired, or you can be broke and tired. But honestly, you need to sit there and take a look at yourself and examine what it is that you really want. Do you want to complain or do you want to change? These are your options.
No, yeah, absolutely. And it's just crazy because the one thing, Jermaine, I was really looking at too, though, is when you break up the demographics of support among candidates, Democrats lean heavier with college educated. If you just break it up, college educated versus non-college educated, before you go into other demographics. If you just go with that alone, non-college graduates, non-college educated, high school or non-finishing high school leans heavily with the Republican Party. And it seems to me that when you look at the popular vote, anytime there's a popular vote over the last several elections, it leans heavily towards a Democratic candidate, which tells me that statistically speaking, there are more people that vote that way, but because of the electoral college, the elections are a lot of times closer than they really are. And that's why you have a lot of red states, because a lot more rural areas where you're going to have a lot of people that did not go to college. And that further kind of, Jermaine, makes me understand a little bit more clearly why there's an attack or such a pushback against learning history and education and this whole idea of creating wokeness. Wokeness is nothing more than inundating yourself with education, making sure that you
Well,
understand things around you that maybe you didn't grow up in, but things you get exposed to. And now they call that wokeness because for the right, they understand that the more people become woke, that's one less person that is likely to vote Republican.
well, you have to understand too when you talk about education. There used to be a time in this country where you didn't have to have a post high school education in order to be successful. And so a lot of people still, when they talk about make America great again, that's part of the great America they want because they would like to be able to live the American dream without doing all this extra stuff to get there. And so that's the kind of throwback too. When we talk about the electoral college, the black and white simple reason of the electoral college is that they didn't want certain states having more sway than other states. The truth of it is the racism behind it that they want the southern states want to count 3/5 of their slave population or 60% of their slave population. And which is crazy because they wanted to use African American bodies, and this is the same country that said that they fought a war because they were being taxed without being represented. and they turned right around and did the same thing to another group of people.
Exactly.
So it's all in, you know, what you believe, and they're in 2024. Facts are just a mythical thing. They're like unicorns and stuff. It's like, what really is a fact? And that again goes back to the weave of Donald Trump spreading all these lies and his people. Is because if I throw out so many different things, we have these debates, and we have to debate what fact is now, and
And
what numbers are, who's telling the truth, and what the real truth is. And what it does is it eliminates any of that stuff, and you can just believe what you want to believe.
and you know, the funniest thing, since you segue into facts, it's very funny. And Lori, I don't know if you saw this, but uh, uh, when they had the vice presidential debate, JD Vance got upset because I guess it was ABC, sat there and did a very, very mild fact check. And JD Vance was all up in arms saying, "Hey, hey, you guys agreed that you weren't going to do fact checks." And I've never understood. Well, I do understand, but I don't understand how you can sell to people that you're against debating, or Donald Trump did not show up on 60 Minutes the other day. He tried to say it was because Leslie Stahl owed him an apology because she alleged that Hunter Biden's laptop didn't come from Russia, and she never said that. The biggest issue was, and the same issue that Trump had when he was in front of the National Association of Black Journalists, is he didn't want to come out for that because they said, we will fact check you in real time. If you have every intention of telling the truth, fact checking should not worry you or cause you to go, I don't want to be there. The only thing you're saying to everybody else, or what everybody else should be hearing you say, is, I want to have the ability to lie with impunity, and I don't want you to correct me on my bullshit. And if you're going to do that, I would rather go somewhere friendlier where I know I can say anything I want and they will just sit there and nod.
I think most people would say, and I say it on the show all the time. So, you know, a lot of times I bring up American history, and I say, hey, by all means, go look it up. The part of the reason I bring it up, some things that are more disturbing, is because I do want you to go look it up. I want you to fact check me. I want you to go see that either, and if I'm not right, tell me I'm not right, because I don't want to keep telling. I personally don't want to keep spreading misinformation. If there's something that I miss, maybe nuanced, but even in that, if I miss something, tell me. I'm open to learning something new, and I think most people who really want to spread a genuine message are open to being fact checked, even if in real time. Like, hey, I don't really think it was that year; it might have been this year, or I'm not quite sure that that's what the motivation was. It was this and this and this. You know, we can have those kind of conversations, but I just think that when you sit there, like you said, and say, I don't want to be fact checked, it's that people should hear, I want to lie
That's
openly.
that's the only thing, because you can have your own opinions, but you can't have your own facts. Facts stand the test of time. You know, a fact is a fact. It doesn't change depending on whether you're looking at it from.
Well, I mean, now we say that, and like I talk about American history and stuff, and there are a large group of Americans, and I'm not gonna say who don't believe that the Civil War was fought over slavery.
Yeah. Well, they don't want to believe that, because then that means that one side was for it and one side was against it.
And so, and to them, and so, what we would consider, some people would consider that facts. I personally, historically, would say mostly that's true. Um, and what it is that what I brought up earlier about the counting slaves for votes. So yes, it was, but it was more political.
Yeah.
Slave owners were getting the benefit of the doubt with the slaves they owned, and those were not really voting people. And how could you count them if they're not being represented? So
Right.
yeah, there was a lot of things that that slavery, from the economics to the political side of it, had involved. Uh, if you say to me that the Civil War was fought over the morality of slavery, I would say that that is false.
Agreed that the people that were fighting for it, it wasn't because of some conscious where they were
No,
of anything. They just felt like slavery was giving folks with slaves a disadvantage that other people didn't have economically, and they were fighting over that. It wasn't the fact that, oh my God, you own people. I am so
well,
outraged.
it was, and it was really so. And the thing in this election is a big point of it, is that a lot of power is political and not economic. And so what it was given Southerners more political say than what they really needed. And as the U.S. was expanding west, and we're trying to figure out these new states are going to be slave states, free states, that really pulled into who's going to be, is the South is going to be, or Southern leaning stuff. It, I'm sorry, I just saw this.
I just saw Anthony's comment too. I say that every year on my taxes. Don't fact check me.
Bruh, me too. Me too.
Yeah, don't
At
fact check.
at least not in real time.
Anthony, you ain't pencil whipping them numbers now, are you? I'm trying to make sure that that you'll be able to watch the show, and I don't know if they air it yet in the correctional facility. So make sure you fact checking it first. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but so yeah, is a point of morality? No, no. This country would never morally. In fact,
Go to war with black people.
yeah, never. Well, they would to enslave more, absolutely.
Right.
But to free them, nah,
Yeah, we not gonna kill each other over y'all.
nah, that's crazy.
It ain't gonna happen. Like,
We go.
let's be real.
The boats were still working. They said we just go get some more. We stopped it, but we can fire the boats back up, get back in there.
We ain't fighting over them that way. We're just fighting over them as chattel, as
Yeah,
property.
it's
It was a
property.
property issue because the slaves were seen as property, and that kind and the free labor of it all too. So
Yeah,
but
because it's like somebody saying, "Well, my horse, I need to count my. I own a horse, so I get an extra vote because I own a horse." And so it's like, well, your horse can't vote, so your slave can vote. So why can't my horse vote? And I'm not sure that was a real conversation, but I just kind of feel like it was.
well, but it's funny
And
you say that.
and I feel that way, so it must be true.
Well, but it's funny you say that. JD Vance has proposed that parents with biological children should have more votes than people that don't have children or biological children, but that the parents should hold the vote. Basically, the more kids you have, the more votes you have, because in his words, you have more of a vested interest in the outcome of this country.
Look,
Because
if you're alive, you have a vested interest in the outcome of this country, and that's the thing when people say they don't want to vote and stuff. I'm like, I mean, they're still going to pass laws that affect you whether you vote or not. You would think that you want to have a little say in there and stuff. And I also to say this, like the third party, like I don't, we talked about this before. And we hit on a little bit of electoral college. I think they should get rid of it. The problem with getting rid of the electoral colleges is that most people don't understand what it is. So you can't convince them that it's a bad thing because it's been working out for the last couple hundred years. So why would we get rid of it?
see, Jermaine, also the problem with the electoral college, and to your point with that is, think about it. I go to the voting booth. I vote for my local, my state, and my federal the exact same way. But every election outside of president is done by a popular vote. It doesn't matter if I'm in Mecklenburg County, if I'm in if I'm in Avery County, if I'm in Watauga County. It doesn't matter. My vote is looked at differently because it is a popular vote. They take whoever has the highest number of votes, that person wins. It does not work that way on a presidential scale. So it's hard to convince people that it's not as good because you do it the same as you do all of the other ones.
Well, and I would say this: it's actually easy to argue for than it is against the electoral college
Correct.
because in all the other popular votes that you talked about are either local or regional.
Correct.
I'm talking in my popular vote doesn't really go outside of my state.
Correct.
What the argument for the electoral college is that the people in California shouldn't influence my vote in North Carolina.
Correct.
And if because there's more people there, I'm at a disadvantage because I'm here. We need to find a way to balance the scales, and so I get why it's hard to argue against. But I could probably make some convincing arguments.
I mean, think about it though. When you look at states like Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, you look at states like that that are heavily red. If they went with a popular vote, hell, they probably still win the state. But the representation would be different from their standpoint. So they have a little bit more leverage, they feel like, with the electoral college right now.
Oh, it does. It evens up things like, quite honestly, if this was a competition right now nationally on a popular vote for the executive branch and stuff, it wouldn't even be close.
No,
It wouldn't even be worth Donald Trump showing up. He's just not popular enough.
When you have 100 and roughly 60 million out of the 350 million folks in this country that voted in the last election, and you win by a margin of 8 million votes, that's an ass whipping. But when you look at it from an electoral college, and you basically eked it out because of 30,000 votes in Pennsylvania, 10,000 votes here in Michigan, 8,000, 11,780 votes in Georgia.
If you could just find them.
Yeah.
Right.
When you can just win by those little margins, and it looks like you just eked out the win, but then you go back and look at the numbers and say, oh, no, he actually won by 8 million. What?
Well, and again, like East California is a high population base, so California goes out there and they vote in the millions blue. Fun fact, outside of the major cities, California is actually a red state. The problem is that land doesn't vote. And while people that you'll see those maps and stuff too, talking about how could this be a Democratic sweep because look at all the red. Well, that's land. That's land owned by most Democrats.
New York is the same way.
Most Democrats are in high population areas and stuff. Basically places that have education and running water and electricity. And so
I'm sorry. I was a little slow on the trigger.
Damn!
I knew you were giving me one, and I just had to be ready.
But it's true. It's hard to find the name of a city, a major top 30 in the country. City.
A major city?
Major city.
Philadelphia. Chicago.
I'm saying it leans Republican.
There are none.
Yeah.
There are none. Like you said, there are pockets. It's just like North Carolina. North Carolina has 100 counties, but there are probably about 7 of them that are solidly blue. And I may be exaggerating. It may only be 5. Same thing in New York City. The state of New York has 20 million people in it. 11 of them are in New York City or surrounding boroughs. So when you look at the other 7 to 8 million people, they're spread out over the rest of the state.
Yeah, but and when you look at the map, because they're spread out over the state, they own all that space, and it looks like if you look at the map that it's all red.
So red,
and it's like again, your horse can't vote.
Right. That's exactly right. And you're right. That's exactly what happens. Even when you look at Arizona, and you start having places like Phoenix and Tempe and all those other places. When you look at Tennessee, you look at Nashville, you look at Memphis. Those are blue, but the rest of the state is so red. But there's big pockets there. What we're starting to see happen, even in Texas, even in Florida, a lot of those red districts are starting to, over time, flip, but still not flipping enough to actually carry the state. They would flip enough in popular votes, but they're not going to flip enough. Another thing that keeps a lot of this from happening to Jermaine is gerrymandering. And
Okay.
gerrymandering is a result of districts being pieced together to pull in more of electorate so that it cannot over influence the outcome of what goes on in that state. And all that simply means is that we're in Mecklenburg County, or you're in Mecklenburg County. Um, any outlying places around you that would normally lean blue, they just all suck that into the same district and then keep the ones around you that are red heavily red so that the representation works that way. Gerrymandering is unconstitutional because gerrymandering has a lot to do with who is the representative of the districts that they come from, and a lot of times the people that are representative of the districts are not the people that are from those districts, and they do not represent the people in their positions and things like that. So this, guys, this kind of goes full circle back to where I started the show about voting has to be local first. We cannot just sit there and try to get ready to vote every 4 years for president, or go say, well, I'm gonna go vote because I don't want Trump's crazy ass back in the White House. Well, there's other crazy ass people that are getting in a lot of positions that are in school boards, superintendents, local judges, county managers, people that influence what you do on a daily basis, not just from the federal level, but from the local and state level as well. And those are the things that we have to get into. Find out who these candidates are. There are a lot more fringe people out there. Jermaine, I'll tell you, I saw somebody I used to go to church with post or repost something, and I just let it go, but I was gonna call her out on it and tell her she's dead wrong. She need to take that shit down. It said something to the tune of "Make America Christian again." Bring God back to America was the instrumentation. And again, these are people that when you ask them, was America founded on Christianity? They will tell you no. Now, here's the funny thing before I break into that, Judge May. When you ask immigrants who have to study to pass our civics test so that they can become citizens, and then you see the split screen of them asking people that were born in this country the same damn questions, it is absolutely amazing how the people
13th in the world.
country, right? People that were born in this country cannot always tell you the three legislative branches of government.
No, they cannot, and it's
But
it's
some,
it's an embarrassment.
but there's people that come here, want a better life for themselves, study and everything else. They can pass these civic tests. So then, when you ask people, was America built on a Christian nation? The fact that people will tell you it was just lends itself to either they want to believe it was, or they really do believe that it was.
Well, here's if I may,
Yeah.
and
Go for it.
how weak is your God that you think that he can be kicked out of anything? Because my God's not that weak. You think that you got to bring God back in, like you control God and where God is located?
Yeah, you keep him out of schools because once you open the door, he walked right out.
God. But you know what? I'm not surprised because these are the same people who, when natural disasters, when the fires happen and floods happen and stuff, the first thing they say is God hates gays. The hurricane happened and they said Democrats control the weather. Maybe God hates Republicans. Maybe that's what it is.
They said one dude in Florida said it was convenient how Democrats steered the storm to only hit the red places in Florida. I'm like, what's wrong with you? What?
Yeah, there's a sitting congresswoman who's putting that shit out there.
Jesus Christ.
Said it's insane to say that they don't have the capability. And she's the same. And now she's Jewish space lasers too. I get that. And she's also my point for when bad things happen to other people. It's because God wanted it to happen. But when bad things happen to her people, other people made it happen. And again, look, I don't know who or how you worship, or if you worship at all. But if you do believe in a thing bigger than you, stop trying to put handcuffs on it. Thinking that you somehow control the God does what God does. God doesn't need your prayers. If you prescribe like I do, you understand that prayer is an opportunity to connect with God, not an opportunity to direct God. And so if you think that somehow there's a man that can keep your God out of something, you might want to reexamine your God.
Got him. We fucking got him.
I got one for you. He do stuff for you, but it is kind of amazing how people kind of confuse these things in their politics and stuff. And like my brother said, there's lots of level. Like I said, as a congresswoman, so there's a lot of seats up for grabs and stuff in your local elections and stuff, regional stuff. Just when I say regional, I mean state. I don't want people thinking that I think there's some Southwest board of directors. I just think there's city politics, and then there's state politics, and then you have your federal stuff. But there's stuff open on all that. If you want we talked about before, even the Democratic Party is such a wide berth for beliefs and stuff. So even if you believe that if you voted for every Democrat on the ticket and they all won and stuff, it still wouldn't be that party moving is one. Now they move better than the Republican Party. They would fire their speakers and stuff like that.
They're not gonna have 13 rounds of voting for a speaker.
No, they're not gonna do all that. They don't all believe the same thing. There's a lot, and they shouldn't, because they are elected from different regions of the country, and everybody has their own concerns.
And I will ask this too to my Republican friends out there. Y'all know Kamala Harris is the vice president, right? The only reason I ask is January 6th ain't that far away. So if Kamala decides she don't want to certify some of them red states, y'all good with that, right? We good with it.
Well, their whole arguments are weird to me. It would be different if they were still in power, but like even the Supreme Court ruling basically saying that the president can't be checked as long as it's official duties and stuff. And if Joe Biden says, "Well, I don't think a felon should be able to run," he locks up Donald Trump, everybody would lose their mind. And Joe would be like, "Well, y'all said I could do it,
right?
I don't want to do it." I think the weak part. Now, here's the thing I will say about Democrats, which I don't believe in. Democrats believe in that there's still some rules and civility on both sides, and it's not. There's a gun on the table, and you're thinking to yourself, if I don't reach for it, they won't reach for it. I guarantee you, they will reach for it. Y'all need to go ahead and start cap off a couple people and save yourself.
Jermaine, we're going to take the high road, and they will follow our example.
I prefer to have the gun in my hand, and I prefer to send people on the high road.
Yeah,
make a way, prepare a table for me.
Yeah, just in case, though. Just in case, but hey, no sudden moves now.
No sudden moves. Let me see your hands. Same time. I don't know you,
bro. Yeah, same time. Absolutely. Lori, I'm gonna let you get in on the last word here. So go for it.
Oh, hold on. Just for everyone, and as just to reiterate again, your vote matters. Please vote. Regardless of who you are voting for, you need to make sure that you exercise your right to vote. You have a vested interest in this country and in your local government. So please vote. Please.
Very good. All right. let's close it up with what I don't like. Lori, I know you just went, but what don't you like? Oh Lord.
Not doing a proper fire drill. I know this way. We at my job, we had a fire drill today. And apparently, I guess because of COVID, they haven't done one in 3 years. So I say that is on a fire drill, stop checking the boxes. If you're going to do something, do it correctly. Don't just have a fire drill, have the alarm, and people go outside and come right back in. You need to get instruction from the fire department.
Hmm, okay. Real close to home. I get that and I can appreciate that.
Hmm.
Hey, what don't you like?
I'm inspired to tell a fire drill story now.
Why not?
No, really, because you say that, and so I did some contract work for the U.S. Forest Service back in the mid to late 2010, 2017-ish, and I was out in Sacramento, California, and one of the guys from the fire service, the safety guy, came down and said, "We're going to have a fire drill." Now, mind you, these are all grown men, and I hadn't had a fire drill since I was a child. He said, "We're going to do a real fire drill and stuff." The short of the story is that this fool set off the fire alarm in a aircraft hangar, and if you don't know, it's connected to a phone suppression system, which he conveniently set off and flooded the hangar and caused an untold amount of worth of damage doing that fire drill that he didn't have to do. We could have just all agreed that as grown people, we would get up and leave if a fire was there. So that's my fire drill story. I actually got to see a hangar get flooded. I got out of work for a couple of days because the airplanes were in there when they decided to flood there and they were open and stuff. It was a
Oh
disaster.
boy.
Right. Man, you know what I don't like? I don't like ignorant people. I was gonna say what I don't like is when I'm sitting here winning on my FanDuel parlay and then somebody get hurt in the third damn quarter and it cost me over $38,000. Thank you very much. I ain't gonna be like that. Oh Lord, you put it. Oh, thank you. But what I don't really like, she figured out how to do it. What I don't like though is ignorant people. The more I have friends on social media, the more I realize that you cannot assume that people are as intelligent as you are just because you happen to be friends with them. It was funny the other day. This lady wanted to know who I was voting for, and I refused to talk to her about it because she was intoxicated, number one. And number two, it wasn't going to be a productive conversation because she really wasn't prepared to argue policy more than she wanted to argue who her candidate was and why she didn't like the other person. Um, so I didn't want to get into a full blown argument with her because it wasn't going to go anywhere. Um, Now, look, if you want to argue policy of a candidate with me, if you want to tell me why you think your person is better for the country and you got all these reasons why, then that's one thing. That's great. Let's have that discussion. But when you're just going to sit there and tell me something that your fearless leader told you as a reason not to like a candidate, I can't go with that. Um, Hearing this whole foolishness about people from FEMA is only giving $750 to people that been affected by hurricanes is so disingenuous. It's an initial payment. It wasn't going to be everything, but it's an initial payment that's given out to people so they can take care of quick necessities, food, medicine, diapers, all those kind of things. It wasn't going to be an end all payment. Then you have people going around touting that FEMA funds are dried out because Democrats have spent all the money on uh, undocumented immigrants, which again is a total lie. But it's a lie, like Jermaine said earlier, that people just want to believe without any vetting or anything else. Or when Donald Trump is out there saying that FEMA, the federal government, isn't on the ground, isn't there, and they were there before the storms got there. They were staging in different areas to make sure that they could have a better response. Those kind of things, just the ignorance of it, another way to vilify illegal immigrants. And it had nothing to do with that, but just trying to find a way to pit people against each other. People, y'all ain't figured out Donald Trump is a one-trick pony. All he keeps doing is being Lucy with the football with y'all. First, he told y'all to come to Washington. We'll be wild. Got your asses arrested and put in jail. Every time he asked his lawyers, he told them, hey, help me try to steal this election. Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, Jenna Ellis, Cheesebro, all these people losing law licenses. Sidney Powell losing their law licenses because they sitting there watching Lucy with the football. How many more times is he going to dangle that football out there in front of y'all? Y'all going to go run and believe what he say, and then he going to leave you holding the bag. He keep talking about the January 6th hostages, but I remember him being president, and he could have sent a blanket pardon out to all of them as he walked out the office. I'll wait. Did he do it? No. So what I don't like is willful ignorance, and that's what I'll say. Y'all, I appreciate the time, appreciate the show. Thanks. I'm sorry, Anthony. I meant to read his. Anthony, I had to look at this twice. I don't know why I thought candy corn said condoms at first. What I don't like, candy corns, shaking my head. But what I do like, the Krabby Patty burger at Wendy's. What the hell is a
Yes.
Krabby Patty burger?
It's the new it's like for SpongeBob. So they have a Krabby Patty burger meal at Wendy's. It comes with the burger. I think you get a Frosty. It's a whole big meal. It's a big it's trending.
But it has nothing to do with actual like fish or anything.
No, it's a hamburger.
See, that's just so damn.
It just has like a special sauce.
See, I thought maybe they were having like crab cake burgers or something.
No.
I was about to stop the show and going over. Give me a crab cake burger. So, candy corn, though. Anthony, stop hating on candy corn. That is a national treasure.
It is not.
You don't like candy corn either?
I ate it as a kid, and
Oh, there we go with that kid shit. So you got to go. There we go with that kid foolishness. Oh, there she's back. Anyway. Oh, man. Thank y'all for tuning in for another episode of Head to Head with Brian Parker. We'll be back next Thursday. So tune in. Make sure if you're joining us live or if you're watching the replay, thank you. Share the show with other people and let them know the good time that you had. And we will see you guys again next week. A small programming note or otherwise a PSA.
Get home and raise your kids! Oh, my gosh!
I mean, somebody needs to, because God, these kids. Anyway, we out of here. We'll see y'all again next week. Peace.
This a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it.
And this a ticket talking Mazda for the biggest. That's a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. I'm a comma and a comma and a comma. Gotta get it. Comma and a comma. Gotta get it. And this a ticket.